Hello everyone, I'm Shimmer and welcome to the second episode of my series, Noobing in Nirn, which is a beginner's guide to Elder Scrolls Online. In this episode, we're going to be talking about character creation, the Megaservers, the different alliances, the different races and racial bonuses, as well as the classes and how they all play into each other. There will be time links below in the About section, so if you want to skip over some parts you can, so be sure to click Show More to see those. ESO doesn't have a bunch of servers, and they have what's called Megaservers. Depending on what platform you purchased it on will determine which Megaserver you're going to play on. Xbox has their own dedicated Megaserver, PlayStation has one, and the PC is split in between two separate Megaservers, the EU Megaserver and the American one. So if you're trying to meet up with some friends and they're overseas, you guys are going to have to kind of work together and determine which server you're going to play on. You can switch between the EU and the American mega servers via the launcher. However, if you have characters on the American mega server, they will not copy over to the EU. You'll have to create new ones over there. So when you create your character, or when you log in, you should automatically be on your assigned mega server based on where and how you purchased it for the console or for PC. So when you first log in, of course, this screen will be empty, but you're going to be given 8 different character slots for you to create characters and play with alts. As you can see, 8 is more than enough for me. I don't like alts that much. I do like to play around with different stuff occasionally, but I like to stick to my main. If 8 is not going to be enough for you, you can always purchase more character slots in the Crown Store, so that's an option for you. So the first major decision you're going to make is your alliance, and there are 3 to choose from: the Daggerfall Covenant, the Aldmeri Dominion, and the Ebonheart Pact. Now this won't play into effect early on in the game, but as you can play and group with people of different alliances in PvE. However, if you want to PvP with them in Cyrodiil or in 4v4v4, you will need to be the same alliance as them. So if you're playing with friends, work this out early so that you guys aren't struggling to make new characters later. The alliance that you choose will determine which race you can be, and each race has different passive abilities and bonuses to them. Each of these alliances will have 3 different races that you can choose from. Daggerfall Covenant will have Breton, Orc, and Redguard. Aldmeri Dominion will have High Elf, Wood Elf, and Khajiit. And then Ebonheart Pact will have Argonian, Dark Elf, and Nord. You also have the Imperial race, which can be played by any alliance, and in order to unlock that, you'll either had to have purchased an Imperial version of the game or by purchasing it in the Crown Store. Now, if you want to remove the restrictions for your alliance and race, you can also purchase the Adventurers Pack. And what this pack does is basically makes it so no matter what alliance you choose, you can play any race. So by purchasing this pack, you'll remove those restrictions that I told you about. The alliance, each alliance having 3 races only, that will be removed, and you can play any race you want. So let's take a more in-depth look at all the different races and the bonuses that they come with. Starting off with Breton, the Bretons will come with an increased XP to the Light Armor skill line and an increase to Alliance points, which is your PvP XP. They also come with a bonus increase of Max Magicka, increased to spell resistance, and reduced magicka cost of all abilities. That makes Bretons a good magicka, a good healer, or a good sorcerer caster. Next up we have Orc, and they come with a increase to XP gained with the heavy armor skill line and an increase to crafting XP. They have a bonus to max health and stamina, increased healing received and health recovery, increased damage with melee weapon attacks, and a reduced sprint cost. So with these bonuses, this makes the Orc a really powerful tank. Next up we have Red Guard, and the Red Guard comes with a increased XP gained with one hand and shield, increased duration of any food eaten, increase to stamina recovery, increase to max stamina, and your melee attacks will have a chance to restore stamina. So that makes Red Guards a really powerful tank or stamina-based class. Next up we have High Elves. The High Elves will come with an increased XP to the Destruction Staff skill line and regular XP, an increase to Magicka recovery, an increase to max Magicka, and an increase to flame, frost, and shock damage. So this makes the High Elves a really good Magicka or even a sorcerer build. Next up we have Wood Elf, and the Wood Elf has an increased XP to bow XP and decreased fall damage, increased stamina recovery, and increased max stamina, and a reduced detection radius while in stealth. So that would make really good Nightblade build or a stamina-based character. Next up is Khajiit, and they come with an XP increase to the medium skill line, an increased chance to successfully pickpocket, an increase to health and stamina recovery, reduced detection while in stealth, and increased weapon critical. So this makes Khajiit a really powerful sneaky character and a stamina-based character. The Argonians will come with an increased experience to the restoration staff abilities and an increased swim speed by 50%. They come with an increased max Magicka pool and a bonus to health, Magicka, and stamina whenever they drink a potion. They have a increased max health and disease resistance and increased healing done. So this makes Argonians a really good healer or caster. Dark Elves will have an increase to XP with the dual wield and reduced damage taken by lava. They come with an increased max Magicka and stamina, increased to max Magicka and flame resist, and reduced flame damage. This would make a really powerful Magicka-based vampire character or caster, Templar, etc. The Nord will come with an increased XP with the two-hand skill line and an increased duration of any consumed drink, an increase to max stamina and health recovery, increase to max health, increase to damage reduction. So this makes the Nords a really powerful, again, another tank or tanky type character. The Nord would make a really good one. And lastly but not least, we have the Imperial. And they come with an increased XP to the one hand and shield line, an increase to gold earned, increase to max health, increase to max stamina, and your melee attacks will have a chance to restore health. This would make the Imperials another really good tank or tanky type character. Now it's time to choose your class, and choosing your class will really depend on your playstyle and how you enjoy playing the game. Do you like to be an up-in-their-face melee DPS? Do you like to shoot fireballs and stay back from ranged? Do you like to tank? Do you like to heal? It's really going to depend on you, what you think looks the coolest, and what your playstyle is. Now, any class can fill any role in Elder Scrolls, and what I mean by that is there's such a robust skill system. Any class can wear any type of armor. They can pick up and put on any type of weapon, so the class you choose doesn't restrict you to a certain armor type or weapon type like in other games. You can wear and wield whatever you want, so there's really a lot of options. A sorcerer can put on some heavy armor and a different weapon, spec themselves a little differently, and be a very decent tank. They can do the same thing in light armor and be a very decent, healer. So choosing a class doesn't necessarily tie you down to a particular role in this game. So it really boils down to what you think is the coolest and the different abilities that each class has that you enjoy playing the most. So we're going to take a look at all the different classes here and what kind of options they have. So starting out with Dragon Knights, they're really good at melee and ranged Magicka DPS. They're fire-based. They make good melee stamina DPS as well. They make very good tanks, as they have some really good damage mitigation in their tree. And they have this really cool ability where they throw a flaming chain at an enemy and it pulls them close to them. So a lot of fire abilities in their trees. Next up, you have sorcerers, and of course, sorcerers will make really good ranged magicka-based characters. They have decent stamina-based builds. They make decent tanks and healers, although it's not their primary role. But I have raged pretty hard at some sorcerers and their shield stacking in PvP. So they're really good at taking a lot of damage and just not dying sometimes. But so that's the sorcerer. And next up we have Nightblade, and Nightblades are going to be your roguey type assassin character. So if you're planning on being like a stealthy person in PvP, this is a class you'll choose. They have really good melee and ranged magicka based DPS, excellent stamina physical DPS. They also make really decent tanks and heals, but again, not their primary role. Next up we have the Templar, and the Templar will be your warrior or paladin type character. They're good at melee magicka and melee stamina builds. They make very good tanks, and in my opinion, they're the best healers. They do have a dedicated heal tree within their class skill set. My main is actually Templar, and I'm a hybrid build, so I can tank and heal at the same time for 4-man dungeons, allowing me to bring in 3 DPS. Next up we have the Warden, and the Warden and the Templar will be the only 2 classes that have dedicated heal trees. But the Warden is kind of a jack of all trades. They make excellent tanks as they have some good damage mitigation built into one of their trees, and good healer as they have the healing tree. And they're frost-based magic DPS. They make good stamina builds as well. And they do have a companion skill line which allows them to call an animal companion to fight by their side, and so they'll be kind of like your shaman or your druid type character, but they are really good at filling any role, damage, tank, or a healer. And that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And stay tuned for the next episode, which is going to cover your first moments in the game and how to survive as a new player. Have a good day.